Released on Friday, this is Grand Illusion, brand new music by wonderful Kiwi singer-songwriter Georgia Lyons. And not only do we have a new single, we have a whole album. Georgia's debut record, The Rose of Jericho, was also released Friday. Now, around this time of the year, for the last 2 years, New Zealand Music Month, of course, Georgia has been kind enough to come into the studio to chat and perform for us. And bless her, she has agreed to come in again for a third straight year. Georgia Lyons, this is becoming a tradition.
I love
Welcome.
it. Thank you. I love a tradition.
And I love this. Thank you so much, my vinyl. I'm going to go home straight away this afternoon and put this on my record player. But I'm almost sort of slightly taken back and surprised that this is your debut album.
It is.
It feels like, there was the EP.
Yeah.
It's not like you haven't been doing things.
I've done a few EPs.
You've been busy.
I've been busy.
But it feels like this has taken a while to come to fruition.
It really has. And I feel like, the last few years I've been writing this record and, we recorded it last year in the space of, I think it was just over a month, to be honest, in terms of like the actual recording, getting it down and done. But the leading up to that has been the last few years of writing and, it's amazing to have it finally here.
Is that quite nerve-wracking to go, okay, 2 years of my life I've put into this, now I'm going to lay this down in a month?
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yourself, I've got a month to nail this.
Yeah, terrifying. There was part of me that was like, it's really great. I can just solely focus on this. I'm going into the studio every single day and throwing everything I have into this. But then also going, we've got a month and we're only, this far through the album, or, we've spent more time on this track than the others, and kind of going, we've got a deadline. How do we make this happen? So it was terrifying. Like, it's so exciting, but my highly organized self and, likes to have the time and make sure that everything's perfect was like, oh my gosh, how do I make an album? I've done this before with EPs, but how do I actually, feels different.
And this, of course, is where a producer that you relate to and can connect with comes into play, right? Yes. The importance of the right producer with the right artist.
Yeah, and I had Nick Manders produce this record. Honestly, the more I've reflected on the timing and not even necessarily the timing, but the more I've reflected on the process of the record and looking back on that, I'm like, I could not have had a more perfect person. I just feel like Nick, just in his kindness and in his, obviously he's like a musical wizard, he's incredible, but I just feel like I needed him to help kind of draw this out of me. And it's, it's my debut record, and it's a really like, what's the word? You'll hear it and you'll listen to it. It's a record. There's a lot in it.
It certainly is, and it deals with some of the hardest times of your life. And I heard you say you didn't think about the fact that actually after you've expressed all these sort of thoughts and things on an album, that you might actually have to talk about them afterwards.
Yeah. And
it's still quite hard.
Yeah. And I think I've just realized, like, I'm just not ready to talk about the songs and the detail and what they're about. And, I feel like anyone that listens to the record is going to interpret the songs and go, oh, this, reflects or puts words to something that's happened in my own life. And I love that, because I'm like, I really hope that you can listen to these songs and find your own kind of meaning and find, where you fit in this record. But but
that's totally okay, because actually the relationship is between the listener and the album, not necessarily the listener and the musician. They will.
Sure.
We do relate to you and want to know more about you and things. But you put this album out, and it's now for everybody to bring their own experiences and knowledge to the songs and interpret them the way they want to, right?
Yeah, which is amazing and exciting, but also terrifying, because I cannot control how this record is received and how people listen to it and what they think. And, that's the beautiful thing with creating art, but also like, please don't drop my heart on the floor.
I don't think you're going to have to worry about how this has been received. So is singing easier to talk about the hard things in life than having to talk about them?
Yeah, I think there's like a processing that has happened for me in writing this record. And, it's been over the last 2 years I've written these songs. And so there's kind of this journey that's covered the last 2 years. And so I think there has been, it's never been easy to write these songs, because a lot of the time I've written lines or lyrics and gone, oh, can I say that? Like, oh, that's quite like confronting. Or I guess it's like an invitation that I've given myself, of writing this record and going, just write, allow yourself to say what you need to say, and then we'll figure out what to do later. But yeah, I guess maybe it is easier. Maybe it's less. I mean, it's terrifying at the same time. I don't know if it's ever easier.
Well, it's a bit like a memoir. It's a bit like a book that captures a moment in time, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And I think one thing that I've been able to put language to for this album is going, this is my marker. Like, we all have significant moments that happen in our life. We, get married, we have a baby, or you graduate, or you get a promotion, and you celebrate those moments in very specific ways. You might go, for me, I like shopping. Or you might,
Great jacket.
Thank you. Olivia Cashmore, it's the best. Just a little shout out in there. People get tattoos. Like there's things that we do to, I guess, signify really significant moments. And for me, like, I made this album. This is my marker. And I guess looking back in 20 years' time, that's going to be this point in time. This is what I, was navigating in my life. And this is the body of work that I created. And I think what a amazing and terrifying thing to have and to make.
We had Trent Dalton in the studio a couple of weeks ago. He wrote Boy Swallows Universe that was turned into the Netflix show, and another wonderful book, Lola in the Mirror, and he had a very traumatic childhood, and he has spoken about that, about how writing about these demons has kind of killed them. Like he's got rid of those the nightmares through writing about them. Has it been a cathartic process for you?
Yeah, and I think it's like with anything, the more that you talk about it or the more that you process and journey and, for me, like have a psychologist or like a really healthy outlet to process things, the easier it gets because it loses its sting, or it loses that kind of like the fear of what if this, is out in the open, or all of those kind of things. So I think for sure there's been like it's part of the healing process. Yeah.
All we're really doing is making people really curious about what's been going on in your life for the last 2 years. Look, you can hear the feeling and the depth in the songs. Is that important to you, that music has that honesty and that depth?
Yeah. I think the further that I get in my journey, the more I realize and see that when people listen to something, they connect really deeply to honesty and truth and the rawness that you feel in a song. Well, that's for me anyway. I listen to artists and I hear that and I go, that touches something within my story. And I'm like, well, there's no point for me personally if I'm writing music that doesn't connect deeply in my own journey, because, is that then going to mean it doesn't mean anything to someone that listens? So that was a big filter for me with this project, is going, am I saying what I really need to say here? Because is this going to mean something deeply to me in order to like hopefully mean something deeply to those who listen?
And we all see through it now, don't we? We can, we've got a good sort of genuine or authenticity kind of radar on us, don't we?
People appreciate it.
Yeah.
That, it's like they go, oh, she's being real and honest, and it's not this facade of everything's perfect. And I listened
to this album and I kind of felt like everything about this album and the songs is next level. It's like everything's just gone up a notch, and I feel like this is kind of where you're at. You're just back from the US. Since we spoke last, you've done, you went and you managed to get a touring agent in the US. You've done 2 tours in the US. So actually you've got markets now.
It's all
to sell this album to, and it feels like it is ready. Are you ready?
I don't know if I feel like I'm ready, but I'm also like, am I ever ready? And what does that mean? What does it mean to be ready for what? I feel like this album, actually, before I go there, I was listening in my car the other day to like some of the very first music it just came on in my car. Very first music that I'd written and recorded, and I was like, oh, we've come a long way. This is something, and just hearing like there was a lot of like perfect rhymes happening in every possible way. And just like listening to that and knowing that this is the album and the body of work that I've created 10 years later, like just felt really proud of myself for kind of sticking the journey out and learning and growing and being willing to continue to learn and grow. I can't even remember what the question was that you asked me before.
So, you know, you're about to, you've been in the States.
Oh, yes.
We've got the album.
Yes.
So what is next?
Yeah.
What is happening next?
Yeah. I mean, I have just started obviously touring in America. It's like starting again in another country. So playing to audiences that have no idea who you are, which is so fun because there's nothing to prove. You just turn up and you're like, here is my songs. Feel free to listen to them. And I'm quite bossy when I play live. So I feel like I'm like, hello, please listen to me, but stop talking.
You have to.
Yeah, because you're like, this is my half an hour to show these people what I've made and created.
I'll make it worth your while.
Yeah, for sure. And I just, the tour I just finished in March, April was all across America, 3 shows in Canada, opening for this artist, Priya Raghu. And it was the funnest, I think it was 12 shows or 10 shows in 12 days or 13 days, traveling 7,000 kilometers. Like it was crazy. That's like 3.5 times of New Zealand, something around there. And it is, you're starting again, but you're also like, I'm building and I'm continuing this journey and I'm loving the journey and loving what I'm doing. So in terms of what's next, it's like, you know, releasing this album, playing some shows, celebrating that I've, you know, had this milestone, I've created this album, and then it's maybe having a little rest and starting again.
I was going to say, and then you take a big deep breath
continues.
And you go, all righty, let's do this again.
And buckle in.
And here we go.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled that you have agreed to perform for us again. You're going to perform Grow Old Without You.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about this song maybe before you launch into it?
I can tell you about the music.
Okay.
I love that I'm dancing around every
You are
question.
dancing around it beautifully.
But I'm happy to dance around that.
Yeah.
For me, like the last few years, like I've listened to a lot of Billie Holiday. I've watched a lot of Disney movies, a lot of like the original animation of the Disney movies, and found myself so inspired by the opening scene credits, this beautiful Disney orchestral thing. And I really wanted that to kind of be in my album, and Grow Old Without You is the opening track to the album. And so I really wanted like those movies, like this opening orchestral kind of Disney feel to open my album. And Grand Illusion is the bookend to that, which kind of is like this Disney close. And so this is like, if you listen to the actual audio, you hear these beautiful strings and this Disney-esque arrangement, which I love. So this is Grow Old Without You.
Thank you, Georgia, whenever you're ready.
Searching for who I was before, but I lost where to find me. Something has to change, find another way, need to come out of hiding. I don't know quite how to say this. You go, it's true, but I won't grow old without you. I can feel your pain every single day, but I have to keep walking, knowing time will tell if you love me well. Hope you know where to find me. I don't know quite how to say this. I I hope you see it's just for now, not always. We have to go our own ways. Please come back to me. I'm so scared to be alone. You're all I've ever known. It's true. I had to go dancing on my own. You're all I've ever known. It's true. I won't grow old without you.
Oh, so beautiful. I don't know how you do that. I'm so jealous of people like you that can come in with your keyboard and then you just, I think it's great that you're letting the music speak for itself. I think it does speak for itself.
Thank you. I think it does too.
Georgia Lines, thank you so much. Look, we'll see you this time next year.
Yes. I think we make it a thing.
I think we make it a thing.
Next time I'll bring some scones or something.
Oh, look, as the host, I should be offering you scones or something. But best of luck for the album launch, and I can't wait to hear what the next year has in store for you. Best of luck, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.